Speaking of scary things, this display is another scary one.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Well, it's George the Antique Nomad, and I may be being a glutton for punishment. I'm on my way home from a wonderful New York trip with a swing to Pennsylvania, where I got to meet Kat from Nurse Flipper and see Jocelyn and Drew from Crazy Lamp Lady and Dagny from Flying Pig Thrifts. It was really fun, and I just said, where's the nearest Peddler's Mall, because I needed a break in the driving, and it led me to this one. I've been to this one once before. It was frightful. But we'll see what it's like now. Maybe something good has come in. It's been a while, a long while. Maybe it's different management. It is a huge place, so, you know, it only takes finding one good thing. I sure hope we do. A lot of Peddler's malls are really good places to shop, and I probably should have stopped at the one up the road. Originally, these would have been glass. Okay, these I really like, but I have a set and I haven't been able to sell them, but let's see. Yep. They had $28 for the set. That doesn't seem bad for 6. People need to live the orange. Besides, it's almost Halloween. This place really is big. It has a big mezzanine area too, but you see a lot of stuff is new. And you see a lot of the same stuff repeated. This space has some vintage though. Let's see how much the Bluebirds are. $10. Cincinnati Royals basketball team. So this is 1962. $65 for that schedule. Probably about right. General Glass, Westmoreland Milk Glass. Pink Depression. Let's see if these children's ones are real. They're not. They feel greasy. The pattern on the bottom is not quite right. So these are 1990s reproductions. Pretty Bluebird, I like that color of vase. And next to it, the Crackle Glass is $24. These are Fostoria's Jamestown pattern. Pretty color. It came in a lot of nice colors. The tall water glasses are nice. Okay, somebody went to great lengths to trap a beer bottle in this. $30. These are Heisey Glass, the Lariat pattern. $25 for the pair is a good price. But these days it is the price. More scary things for Halloween. We'll have to look for scary Halloween things as we go through here. I have a feeling there's a lot of scary things. Here is a heap of helping. Magazines, records, books, bottles, postcards, just jumbles and jumbles. I mean, you could spend days and days going through here and probably find a few interesting things. Let's just pick something at random. The first fly-in of antique planes to the original airfield signed by some pilot. And this is $1. That's kind of fun. There's certainly a representation of various eras of Suncrest, various eras of hires. This is a tutorial in logos and labels and when they happened. The old Mountain Dew, the new Mountain Dew. Miss Tallulah Bankhead discusses television. What a great graphic. Tallulah Bankhead was very interesting. She would have been a baseball broadcaster if she were alive today. She was actually quite talented at it, but she was a woman, and in that time, they wouldn't let her do it. But she actually called a minor league game once, I believe. This is a mix of new and old, but I do really like this lamp with the blackamoor and the ashtray. Great original shade. $60. You know, that's not really a wrong price for what it is. That's just what I would put on it myself. 1950s Chevrolet hubcaps, though there's a few things in here. There's some more creepy Halloween. Dr. Seuss diploma. I'd want to do that in rhyming if I were the teacher. This is a fantasy item. I want you to see it now new in the box so that years later you won't say, oh, that's an old one. These were never made originally. Not like that anyway. Halloween colors or 70s colors, you pick. $10 for the high contrast 50 square plastic fantastic kitchen set. And yes, some VHS. Certain Disney. You have to know which is which. It's just like any of this stuff, like video games, DVDs, eventually CDs are starting to be collected, books. You really have to know which edition in the series is the one that people want. I do not have luck selling punch bowl sets. They're just too big and people are not entertaining in large groups, and especially right now with what's going on, that is a stay away from for me. Let's see. Welcome to the Murat Oasis. Oh yes, this is going to be for one of the fraternal organizations. There's the ruby red. Some more fantastic orange. At least they've got cool orange stuff. These orange peel mugs are $7 each. These are right from about 1970. American made, not sure which company. I thought Federal, but it doesn't have the F stamp that I would have expected. This set here is cute, $45. These sets have gotten to be in that price range because they're hard to find in good shape now. These were inexpensive in the late 50s and early 60s when they were new. Armstrong's Antiques, that's neat if you wanted to rename your business. Oh no, it is their business. Never mind. I see. I was a bit confused. This is Franciscan's wheat, or the Texas company that made something based on Franciscan's wheat, and I think it's the Texas company. Let's see if it has the mark, because you'll see these around. Yes, the House of Webster Ceramics. I personally like the Franciscan version better. I would want this bike if I were a kid. Ray Pastels. They only want $5.64 for the whole stack, and I believe this is the luncheon size. That's actually really inexpensive even today if they're in clean shape. That top one is perfect. There's a good mark. I just have so much dishware right now that I need to deal with that I have no business, including a bunch of Blu-ray that I have no business putting out money for more, but it is definitely a great deal. Homemade. They said this is an antique Hubley Iron Horse doorstop. It does have the crackling to the paint. I don't see evidence of big file marks. It seems pretty tightly seamed. The paint is really good. That seems like it could be a good buy if it's what it seems to be. Alright, here we go. What do we see? Vintage mailbox. If this says Griswold on the back, I would take it for $55. But it doesn't feel like it's going to because it's sheet metal on the back. So it's a good one, and it's worth about what's on it. That doesn't seem very old. This is sort of interesting. Airborne generating systems. It's $35. It's two-sided, but you know, it's a pretty narrow interest. Now these rails, $25 each. Joined together a long time ago. I think the idea is for them to be fence inserts, which they could easily be. I could see people doing a lot of interesting things with these, actually. That seems like a pretty good price for a repurposer. I'm kind of tempted by them. They're large, but they don't really take up a lot of room. And they'd be interesting to hang quilts on. What are the bottoms like? I do have a couple of quilts and blankets that I'm bringing to the next show, and the bottoms seem to have something approximating a spike, and I'm supposed to have grass for my surface, so these may end up being mine. The initial with the period after it and the spike make me think that this is early 1900s, maybe 20s, maybe 30s. I don't think any newer than that. These look like they're old too. They're very handsome. Heavily worn there. They do have wear. Yeah, no, they're old. I see, it's just the pattern's been worn. $20 each is not bad. If you're restoring a nice old house, these are good places to come to get things. This letters is interesting. I know a lot of people can't get mail this way anymore, but they could make something else out of it. I think I'm going to pick this one up. Yay, I finally found something in this store. Second time's a charm. Marks, wing shot bagatelle. $12. It could go for $24 if it wasn't broken there, but it is. Grow Clay's tobacco seed. That's kind of a neat rack. It'd be good for displaying paper, but I'm having trouble taking paper to shows because all of my shows have been outdoors, so I'm not going to rush to get that, I think. This stool is interesting. It's very, very short, but it's an interesting design for $25. Looks like someone left the iron on. Weathered old mailboxes, if they are still rainproof, people will buy them and use them. These are $33 each. That's not a bad price. I've sold them for as high as $45 and $50. Somebody took the sign from Florida. And then $60 for the Kiwanis. The all brass pulleys are more heavy duty and more expensive than the wood ones. This is $35. Let's see what's in this pile here. That looks like it's Japanese redware, and those are Japanese as well. A very dusty Fenton for $20, that's why it's dusty. $5 each on those. That's probably about the right price, but maybe not the right price for a place displayed like this. Speaking of scary things, this display is another scary one. There's some cute stuff in here, but this hasn't been tended for a long time. No light, can't see anything. Don't be this dealer. If you're in the real world, work it. If you work it, you'll make money. If you don't, you won't. It's really a very straightforward thing. This is Hall China, $18. Probably the best piece in the place and hiding on a back shelf. This, on the other hand, is a pretty clean display, and they have some modernist stuff. It's nothing really great, but it's put together well, and it's attractive, and I see things I like. So there you go. $23 for the fondue set, but taping it up like that will take the paint off, so can't touch that. This is ceramic, however, and the paint is not paint, it is in the glaze. This is Red Wing, I'm sure it says underneath that big tag. And it's $22. That's really not too bad. There was a time when these from the California potteries were going for $65. And I think even now, there's really room in this. It's very Halloween-y. Lid seems to be in good shape, no chips, no cracks. The handle is not loose, that's important on these. I bought and sold a lot of these over time. Okay, now it's missing a screw. You can replace. It doesn't seem to be a functional issue, so you just have to get another one. And I think you can see the G in Red Wing under here. But just for fun, we're going to take this off because it's redundant. Oh, well, it's going to tear, so no, we'll leave it on there. Might end up with this. Just have to check where the market is now, because it is a little heavy to ship. These folks have a piece of pilgrim glass, Europa, with the tassels. That's how it came new. $19.99. I saw them sold without the tassel, but the tassel was something from the factory. So if you see it on there, it's not just something someone put on there. It was intended.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a quick break and thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Also, please do subscribe because then you can click that bell to be notified of future videos. We have membership packages. There's a couple of different levels. We appreciate the support of our super fans who help us do extra bonus content. You can check that out by hitting the join button below or clicking the link in the description. And lastly, we want to ask you to check out our new channel, the Antique Nomad Live. That's live with an exclamation point, where we're doing additional content of a live nature, hauls, sales, bonus stuff. We'll have a lot of fun there too. So check us out here on the Antique Nomad and also on the Antique Nomad Live. Now let's get back to this video.
Here is a Wild West chuck wagon made probably in the 70s or 80s.
and it is $45. And then this big jar, this decorator jar, it's got a scratch, but it's $60. I think for somebody who is really serious about setting up a big old bar or perfume counter display, this could be used in an institutional setting. I think that's a good price, honestly. It's just so large. I don't think I need another large object right now. And then this looks like Napoleon and Josephine in marble, $65. Brother Juniper was a light comic character from the late 1950s. (1958) Publishers Syndicate. Here's a different take on the decoupage purses of the 1970s. This is something in the style of Caro Nan. It's not a weave though, it's just slats. And it was done by someone else doing the same sort of thing, hand painted especially for Mrs. Edward Durier, if I'm reading that right, by Kitty Roberts, March 1972. It's fun. It's $35, so they're going to keep it, but it's fun. Alright, this looks like it could be vintage here. I'm just going to take a quick look. Vintage sundresses can be pretty cool. This is made in Hawaii. It does look like it's vintage. It's $24. What great colors. This place is kind of bewildering inside. It's very hard to keep track of where you've been. It's sort of like they turned everything at a diamond shape, and there's a staircase in the middle. I'm not sure what this was. It seems like it must have been an old department store, probably. We'll see when we go upstairs. Number 3 of 3, but you're not telling me how much, and those are not the original shot glasses. Here's McCoy's effort to emulate the overlaid drip glazes of some of the other 1970s modernists. You will see this set a lot over the course of time if you are an antique or vintage dealer. They were very popular and they just come up a lot. 1960s, they've got 15 on the set. It's missing one shot glass. That's about the right price. I do not look majestic in the morning. If you look majestic, then this mirror is for you. I'm going to go upstairs because then I can get my bearings on where I've been downstairs. This place is very, very large. There are a lot of vendor booths here. A lot of it is new stuff, a lot of it is schlocky, but there's a few old things. Well, this certainly is effective in making me look at these old Bartenders lamps. These are 1970s, only $8, but he's missing the top. They almost always are. These were very badly made. 1970s Japanese, you would put the utensils in here. The alcohol dripping would cause the red to immediately come off, and the black. So, hard to find in good shape. This place is pretty big. I am kind of amazed. It's also amazing how little I'm finding that's really vintage and cool, but there are a few things. Most of them are priced at retail. I have a couple things up at the desk that I'm happy with though. So you just have to try it out. You can even buy plants. All right, now here we have a bunch of Franciscan desert rose, but right away the shapes look like the later pieces to me. I'm going to see if we can find something with a mark on the bottom to show you. Now this one says USA Hallmark, and for some reason Paul Blart Mall Cop is inside of it. Well, maybe he ate what was in there. And this one does indeed have the last of the USA marks, so this was made around the late 70s. And that's good. You want the USA, it's better made. This one is priced at $100. It is a harder one to find. They used to sell for more. I don't know if it will go for that now though. They have $6.50 each on cups and saucers. This one I'm suspicious because I think this shape was not this large when it was made in the US. And it does not indeed have any mark, which makes me think it might be offshore production. You know, $50. These didn't go for $50 at the peak. That's why this stuff's sitting here, even though it's pretty. And they also have a good Franciscan pattern here, which I'm sure they have a lot on. Yes, this is Wildflower. 1940s mark on this. It's a very pretty piece. But they have the old school price of $225 on it, and people just won't pay that anymore. This one, they've got marked $75. Honestly, I think that's a little rich for today. But they do have some pretty pieces. When I first became a dealer, I bought a huge set of this. I paid $4,000, and I made enough money off of that the first few months as a dealer to expand my merchandise and really take off. So, you know, I always have a soft spot for Desert Rose. It just doesn't sell like that anymore. Okay, Dewberry Sugar Bowl for $10. This is an older pattern of chintz, and chintz is good stuff. It's Old Foley, which was James Kent, and this is their chintz. Dewberry's not a bad pattern. It's got a little staining around the edge. If that shows through, that would be problematic, and the light's not good here. But honestly, these all-over floral patterns from the early 50s do sell well. There's probably money in this stuff, particularly the serving piece. It's a shame that only the sugar bowl is in good shape, though. The creamer had a hard life. Went to a party and it fell down. Bread and butter, $5. Not bad. Here's some more of the Wildflower, including the little bowls and such. Again, this is a hard pattern to find, but $15 these days is a bit much for that.
I wonder how this space is doing for this person. Really? I mean, would you feel like you could even look in here? I'd feel like it might collapse on me. And then there's this book presentation. Find your favorite author. Oh, and this is especially nice. Catch? You know, to heck with it, I am going to walk in here because I see a vase that I'll bet is cheap because no one can get to it. And there it is, and sure enough, it's $5. Now, it's just a basic satin glass, and I don't think it's Czech necessarily even. I think it could be Japanese. It has a label that's very obscure at this point. But I still think the colors are fun, and it's only $5, and it is vintage. It's a lot more fun when you get it up in the light. See, it'll look good in the window. Yes, you know, you display like this, you get $5 for a $20 item. Well, so far I've got to say, my summation of this place is it's a lot of work to get very little stuff if you're an antique and vintage dealer. And that's not true of a lot of the Peddler smalls. They're usually a little bit more, well, exciting for my kind of reseller than this. Here's the classic coffee pot that sat in every restaurant when I was a child. And it's $18. Some blow molds up on top there. Here's a plate I always get a kick out of. This had to have started a lot of fights in the 1950s and 60s when hubby got to the bottom of this and discovered that he was being drafted to help with chores or blackmailed into buying a dishwasher. A Crosley automatic dishwasher.
She wants to put some of
this was Homer Laughlin, and then it was decorated by another company, I think Salem. I'm sure those went over great. This one's cool too because this is a local radio station, or group of radio stations. These would have been done in the 60s. They want $20 for the pair. For the old advertising glasses, that's probably about right. These are probably Picard decorating, or at least someone decorated the gold on top of a European blank. It could have been an amateur, but it's very well done. This Portuguese pottery is really nice, but it is later. This is going to be 1990 approximately. But it is all hand painted. It's decent quality. It's a little lighter than some of the American and English. This looks like a homemade knockoff of a California pottery, and it is. Mom was like, yes, honey, it's wonderful, and then got rid of it the moment she left the house. Some Fenton down here. Surprisingly, I didn't see a lot of Fenton on this trip.
This is a peach blow piece with the two-toning for $26, a fair price. $14 on the bell. This is all priced about the way it should be. Melted plastic jack-o'-lantern, $18. That's a pretty cute one. I'll bet that would sell. I wish it was just a little less expensive, but it's good color. And it is the right season, and yes, I think I have to have that. Flamingo vase for $18. I sell them for a little more, not enough more to get it. Horses. And a very pretty picture here that looks like it's actually Victorian. They call it amber glass, but it is carnival. Late Victorian, early 20th century, I would say, with the drapery. $45. It used to be this would have been a no-brainer pickup. Marigold carnival drape with painting. There's probably room in it, but you know, not a ton. So I'm gonna leave it, even though it's really beautiful. A present from Mapplethorpe. Not Robert Mapplethorpe. That's a different guy. You might not want a present from him. He wasn't a very nice person. Oh, hello, my friend. Okay, let's take a look at the cases here. I like the clock, $35. It's sort of a bland color, otherwise everything about it is great. Wish they were having a sale. Fenton custard for $30. I've had this Red Riding Hood before. They've got 28 on it. That's what I got for mine. She is by Cibus, or Cebus, I believe, from New Jersey, as I recall. An older Lionel train, plastic cars, $150 for that set, but then it says half off. Same with the Marks Railroad, half off of that is $87.50. I get about 100 for those. Not enough room, but it's starting to get there. There is one upper level as well. This place is just enormous. I have to say it's one of the biggest ones of these things I've seen. I'm surprised there isn't a better variety for me, considering how much stuff. Century of Progress. Let's see what that's about. Oh yes, that's right. That's about a church in Louisville. I always think it's the Chicago World's Fair, and as soon as I run over, I realize my mistake. Golden Sundrop, that's damaged. Pumpkin Spice. She was my least favorite of the Spice Girls. No, that's not true. Posh was. This is absurd. Another entire room full of stuff. Behind the room that's behind the room. I mean, this place just goes on forever, and yet there's so little antique and vintage, and of what there is, so little of it is priced at a resale price. It's really interesting to me, because generally these places are half the size and I get twice as much stuff. And we have these, the Purple. Purple is that foot there, $2.50. That's a pretty good price, but I've got some of that already in stock. Here we go. Some of this 70s metalwork is catching on because of Jure being so popular. $10 is probably a fine price to pay for that. The cat, I think, is a little more interesting looking, though. $7.99. Bunch of Kentucky Derby glasses, but they're priced at retail. Bunch of RC Cola glasses, bottles, including the one for the Kentucky Colonels when they were an ABA basketball team. I see an oak dresser hiding back there with the swing mirror from about 1900, priced at $2.99. That seems to be about the going rate. And a very hideous little lovely little 70s love seat. You know, honestly though, the printed fabric at this point is pretty fabulous. With that orange, you could definitely decorate around that, but you better really like quail and pheasants and turkeys and orange birds. I'm just reporting, I'm not commenting. Well, it was really good to get out of the Lexington Peddlers Mall and actually find some stuff this time. So it is a place I'll come back and skim, but a lot more quickly now that I've been through it all, and I realize that mostly it's just a lot of sort of used household stuff and a lot of new stuff, and not too much in antiques and vintage, but you can still find it if you dig deep. And once you've been to a place and you kind of know where things are, you know where to look again. So
In the meantime, I'm going to go looking elsewhere. I'm George the Antique Nomad. Please catch me at the social links in the description. Check out my memberships, check out my live channel. It's really good to have you here, and thanks so much for watching. We'll be back with another adventure very soon. Bye-bye now. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below. Click the bell to be notified when new videos upload. Leave a comment below and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.